Greetings. In this part of the discussion, we are uncovering the lies of the rotten Zionists. They made a lie and they believed it, and they spread this evil in the West, that Palestine was a land with no people, for people with no land. And we are using the Jewish Christian book to show the proofs how old were the Palestinians in this land. And we said, just after the flood, from one of the sons of Noah. From Ham, we had Canaan, and from Canaan, we had the Canaanites. And since that time, they have been living in the land, even like 1,000 years before Abraham, and 2,000 years before Jesus, according to them. They say from us to Jesus 2,000 years, from Jesus to Abraham 2,000 years. But we are talking now to the time after the flood, immediately after the flood of Noah. That's another 1,000 years. So 5,000 years back, the Palestinians lived in the land. The land was never a land with no people. Let's go read the book of Judges, chapter 14, verse 4. His parent did not know that this was from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion to confront the Palestinians. For at that time they were ruling over Israel. Now, in the previous video, we discussed this, that the Lord said to the parent of this son, Samson, do not cut his hair, because he is a Nazarite to God, to lead the Israelis from under the slavery of the Palestinians. Over here, it continues in chapter 14, verse 4. It says that his parent did not know that this was from the Lord. But this is a weird words. Who was the Lord? The Lord God was seeking an occasion to confront the Palestinians. He was seeking an occasion. This is a joke, of course, but a stupid joke. The Lord does not need to do this. But the Israelis, who are weaker than the Palestinians, they may look for a chance to avenge themselves against the Palestinians. But the Lord, seeking an occasion to confront the Palestinians, he needs permission. What he's waiting for? Somebody else higher than him to allow him? Okay. For at that time they were ruling over Israel. Again, another verse speaking about how the Israelis were slaves subdued under the Palestinians. But the important thing here, we are looking at confront the Philistines. If the land was with no people, this does not make any sense. Confront who? There is nobody to confront. But to confront the Philistines means, there were people, and those people are called the Philistines. And the God is seeking an occasion to confront those people. Dear stupid, rotten Zionists, Palestine was never, ever, ever with no people, for people with no land. This is a stupid lie you invented and promoted in the West. So go read the book and find for yourselves how the land had people always. Always. Very well, let's go to verse 19. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, upon Samson. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully over him. He went down to Ashkelon, struck down 30 of their men. Now, we read before, God is saying to the parent of Samson, do not touch his head with a razor. He is a Nazarite to God. Nazarite to God. He is supposed to be dedicated to God. Now, what does it mean in the Israeli eyes that, a man is dedicated to God? What does it mean? It means killing. It means massacres. This is how they understand dedication to the Lord with their stupidity. So here, the Spirit, then the Spirit of the Lord, came powerfully upon Samson, him. He went down to Ashkelon, struck down 30 of their men. He massacred 30. He committed a massacre. This is a Nazarite dedicated to the Lord. So no wonder now when they are killing the innocent Palestinians, they think that this is dedication to God, to their God, Jewish God. So they are doing God a favor. This is how they worship their God, by killing innocent Palestinian children, women, elderly, innocent civilians. Now, under the title in the book of Judges, title of Samson's Vengeance on Philistines. The title in English, not in any other language, in English. Samson's Vengeance on Philistines, on the Philistines. Dear rotten Zionists, what the hell is we are talking about here? There are no Philistines. This land with the land with no people. What Philistines? Vengeance over what? Over who? If Samson is fiction, so you have to make a fiction, Philistines? Or Philistines are a reality, were a reality. People in the land. And this fiction, Samson the Smith, it says vengeance on the Philistines. How? Who are the Philistines? This is a land with no people. Let's go to chapter 15, verse 3. Samson said to them, this time I have a right to get even with the Philistines. I have a right to get even with the Philistines. He got upset because the Philistines did a very stupid little thing, but he is frustrated now. He has the right to deal with the Philistines, get even. He then fastened a torch to every pair of tails. He brought some dogs, fastened fire to the tails, and let the torches, he put fire into it, and let the foxes, not dogs, and let the foxes loose. They ran into the fields of the Philistines, the Palestinians, into the standing grain of the Philistines. The whole crop of the Philistines. They burned one little thing for one Israeli. Now he has right to destroy all of their crops. But